Yeah, my name's Eric Olson, and I'm doing this video mainly because of all of the things I see on Facebook and on Twitter and on the news. It really doesn't seem to be grasping what the average American thinks. So in the absence of all that, I've taken the notes that I've written here, and I'm going to try and do the best I can on a video and try and put what I see lacking on other news outlets and things into perspective the way I see it. Maybe some of you will see it also. Also, yes, I've distorted the image that you're seeing mainly to infuriate some of you and add a little humor to the rest of your day. So let me go through these notes and we'll see how it comes out. I'm going to try and do this in one take. So I feel compelled to do this video. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and the rest of the networks have clearly taken one side of the political aisle or the other and have clearly decided to only report elements of news that support their narratives. You so-called journalists are a disgrace. Gone are the days of Walter Cronkite, David Brinkley, and Dan Rather. News is nothing more than a headshot of several so-called experts talking over one another. All we, the American public, need is for you networks to deliver the facts, all of them. And we will be making up our own minds and coming to our own conclusions. Chris Cuomo, Ashley Banfield, Anderson Cooper, Wolf Blitzer, and all of you people at MSNBC. To me, it appears as if you're direct descendants of Baghdad Bob. I didn't mention anybody at Fox News, but you're included in this. Let's go over what Donald Trump said about the vetting process. DNA, facial recognition, fingerprints, and all the other things that the so-called experts say that will help identify terrorists are false. They don't have social security numbers over there. They don't have an NCIC computer. They don't have birth certificates. The FBI and Interpol may have extensive records, but they don't have records on all of them. The things that are going to be used in this so-called vetting process, as prescribed by these people on TV now, who are talking against the temporary moratorium on immigration that Donald Trump is talking about, the current vetting process will only help to identify terrorists once they have murdered innocent American civilians. Religion and freedom religion are American values bestowed upon each and every one of American citizens. Those wishing to become American citizens have not yet had those rights bestowed upon them. Our founding documents, as much as will be to the dismay of a lot of you, they stop at the American border. Lindsey Graham and the RNC, Jeb Bush, and the rest of you career politicians, you're not getting the memo. The American people are sick and tired of business as usual in Washington, D.C. Democrats and Republicans alike talk a good game. They never deliver. I saw your news conference clip today, Paul Ryan. You and your other cronies allow this president to circumvent the Constitution of the United States with nothing more than a pen. All you do is sit on your hands. Protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Remember that, Ryan? You said that you repeat it every 2 years when you take your oath of office. To attack Trump on his statement on immigration, to say it's not conservatism. That may be true. Have you ever thought that the standards that define conservatism are the same standards that the American public are starting to get sick of? However, to allow people into the United States that will be judged of the vetting process that's currently in place, like the San Bernardino people, is to admit that you're letting people into the United States using a failed vetting process. Remember your oath, Ryan, and the rest of you people in D.C.? To protect and defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. To knowingly allow people into the United States using a failed vetting process. You're not remembering your oath. We, the American citizens, watch the news every day, and we see how Congress and the House can't or won't do anything to stop Obama from using his executive orders to circumvent the Constitution at will. You Republicans, you have the majority in both the House and the Senate. Take the executive order privilege away from Obama or limit its scope. Suspend the filibuster and shut Harry Reid up. Trump has every intention of getting results. Results in Washington, D.C. Now, those are two words rarely spoken in the same sentence. Career politicians are scared of results. One can only look on YouTube to look at all the speeches given by all the politicians in the past when running for re-election or running for office. It's always the same repetition of the same old things. Immigration, foreign policy, taxes, gun rights, strong military, balanced budget. All several things, and many several things that I'm forgetting to mention here. Fellow Americans, these idiots in Washington, Republicans and Democrats alike, only talk about solving problems. Many of them make an entire career of it. If these problems were fixed, ask yourself, what would we need them for? Have any of you people out there ever heard of the term working yourself right out of a job? Exactly. That's what's whispered in the halls of Washington, D.C. Another thing to point out, Hillary Clinton and all the other GOP candidates, we always hear Donald Trump out front talking about issues that are on our minds. And it's exactly what we're thinking. Then the rest of you attack him or ride his coattails with an altered form of his original message. In my opinion, this is what we need. We need to close the porous southern border, strengthen our military, balance the budget, and amend the Constitution to ensure it stays balanced. Stop all immigration until, this is what you people at CNN and everybody else fail to mention when talking about Donald Trump's speech yesterday. You always talk about he wants to stop immigration. He wants to stop Muslims from entering the country and stop. You forget to carry it a few more words longer. So stop all immigration until a clear, effective vetting process can be put in place that ensures the American public's safety. You Republicans alienate women on your views on abortion. You, Mike Huckabee, you're a dinosaur. In my opinion, there should be a panel of women, and at least 3/4 of those women should be of childbearing age years. We don't need 80-year-old politicians talking about abortion rights. We need women of childbearing age years assembled in a panel to come out with the solutions for women. Should be a very simple tax code. You make $1 million, 20%. 250K and up, 15%. 100K and up, 10%. 50K and up, 8%. Below 50K, 0%. No loopholes, no refunds. Cut and dry. The Federal Reserve needs a full and complete audit. There needs to be term limits. Boy, I bet that shakes a lot of you in Washington. Term limits on all elected officials and the Supreme Court. Executive orders. That authority needs to be modified. Executive orders should expire after 120 days unless agreed upon by the Congress and the House. A complete audit of all departing elected officials' financial portfolios should be done. I'm sure that there's other Americans out there that are absolutely sick and tired of politicians making tens of millions of dollars while in public service. Speaking fees and appearance fees for all elected officials and your spouses. will no longer be tolerated or legal. Furthermore, all financial transactions, should I say illegal financial transactions, that would imprison the average American should also imprison any elected official. Any health care passed by elected officials in Washington, D.C. for the American people to have and use should be adopted without modification by the elected officials who are in Washington, D.C. Free health care and other government programs that are not available to average Americans who make certain incomes should also not be available to rich politicians, such as free health care. Once a public official leaves office, they should no longer receive free health care. They should have to pay for it like everyone else. Let's talk about Donald Trump's military experience. While it may be limited, he surely has more than Mr. Obama. Trump is a successful businessman, and he has a demonstrated ability to be able to assemble a team of advisors, like the Joint Chiefs. He, unlike Obama, would probably take their advice and would carry out the plans to rid the world of ISIS. I'm reading my notes. Like I told you, this is a one-take deal. Another note on immigration. The American people, despite our differences, have always come together in times of war. Our young men and women, time and time again, have proven that they're the best military fighters in the history of the world. When talking about immigration, this just has to be said. Young military age male refugees should not be admitted to the United States. If our men and women are fighting in their country for them, they need to be there also. They need to be trained and armed. And they can fight against the same forces of tyranny that our young men and women patriots are doing. To have our young men and women fighting a war overseas and admitting a military age male refugee from that same country into the United States and have him basking in the sun at some beach someplace while our brave men and women are fighting for him is ridiculous. Ashley Banfield, in my opinion, you should be fired. Your show is the epitome of ridiculous. You talk over every single guest that has any opposing view to you. And you're guilty of broadcasting fake news. And you should be fired. You Ashley Banfield should be forced to follow Brian Williams into obscurity. That's about all I have right now.